Hey guys, I just received this flashlight today from Banggood for review. This is the Astrolux EA02. Before I get started, I just want to say that if you like this video, can you please subscribe so more brands will see that I'm worth sending their lights to? Because at the moment they're turning me down, saying that I don't have enough subscribers. That's fair enough, but if you enjoy it, you like my content, then I really appreciate it, just to subscribe so I can get more of these reviews out there. Because they're a little bit different to others on here. I do a bit more testing at the end. Yeah, so it's well worth it. So this just comes with the typical Lanyard 2 O-rings. You know, you've got the user manual. So yeah, this is the same body as the Astrolux EA01S and the Astrolux EA01. So exactly the same body on this. They've just put on a big reflector, a big head on this. So yeah, they've still got the quite sharp lanyard attachment. Not too bad, but a bit of an edge to it. You know, good knurling on this. Even though the anodizing is quite a smooth finish, it's still, you know, quite a good amount of grip there. You've got the silver ring around the electronic side switch. You've got a bit of cooling on the head, a bit minimal, not that much, but I got 5.5 minutes on turbo, and that was at a 50 degrees Celsius thermal limit and at 23 degrees Celsius. So 5.5 minutes before step down, that's not too bad. But yeah, so you've got the USB-C charging port over here. So yeah, twist this one around to the side, don't just lift it up, otherwise you're going to wear it out and it's going to end up tearing off later on. Yeah, so moving on to the head of it. It's got a very deep smooth reflector in here. It's got the Osram CUL PM1 LED in this. So this is running a FET driver. It was advertised with an 8 amp constant current driver. So that's a little bit disappointing, because instead of it being regulated, it will be unregulated output. So that means that instead of it being a nice, smooth, flat output, you know, maintaining its output, the lumens will decrease as the battery drains. So yeah, that's a little bit disappointing. Even though it's running a FET driver, I wasn't able to push it past 9.02 amps. And that was using a Molicel P42A battery. I would, however, recommend something a little bit less current for the battery, because on turbo the light did change to slight purple. So yeah, that's not so good, but that LED maxes out around 9 amps, so it's not too bad, but I would recommend something a little bit less. I was outside with it, very clean beam profile, a little bit of a ring, a little bit of an edge just around the corona in the beam, but you know, very, you know, fine narrow beam, good distance. I would highly recommend buying this. Just for the only model that I had, you know, in comparison, was the Convoy L21A. This is much more lighter. You know, it's just got, you know, you got USB-C charging on it, roughly the same range, performance. Yeah, so we'll just open this up and have a look. So we've got dual springs in the tail. We've got good threads, well lubricated, and then we've got the 18650 adapter. We've got a 21700 battery adapter as well, and then it's got just fits the 26650 battery. So we've got no anodizing on the front of this battery tube, and then there's no spring. You've just got a contact, brass contact here. Yeah, well, I've got the Beamshots coming up next. Then I've got the runtime at the end, just for like the first 15 minutes, just to see what level it can sustain without heat being an issue. Yeah, so thanks guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy. I'm just going to do my best to go over the UI. So you've got from off, single click on, single click off. From off, you'll hold down the switch and it will increase from moonlight up to max ramp. Press again and it will decrease in brightness. So from off, if you do a click and hold, it will turn on at the highest and decrease in brightness. So from off, you've got double click, gets you to high or max ramp, and then a double click from there gets you to turbo. From on, you can do 3 clicks, 1, 2, 3, and that will change to now from smooth ramping to stepped ramping. So now it increases in preset levels. So 3 clicks again to get back. 1, 2, 3. Now you've got back to the smooth ramping on here. You can change the switch LED lights from off, low, high, and blinking or beacon. So we'll just do it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's off. And that's on low, and we just get back to high. And we're back on high on the switch LEDs. Yeah, so from when you're in lockout mode as well, you can do 3 clicks of the switch, and that will change the LEDs in the switch as well. So we'll just go into lockout. From off, it's 4 clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if you hold down the switch, it's got momentary level. Click and hold will get you your second level. The levels can actually be configured in the ramping config mode, and we'll go into that later on. So yeah, so 3 clicks in lockout, you can change the behavior of the switch. I've got it set to beacon. It's just a good indicator to know that you're in that mode. So 4 clicks will exit. Yeah, so from here we go to 5 clicks. We'll get momentary. So momentary will turn on at whatever brightness you were last on. So if we increase the brightness a bit, turn it off, and we'll do 5 clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now if you hold down the switch, it turns on at your set level, just as you're holding the switch. Good for SOS or signaling. So you have to unscrew the tail cap, disconnect the battery, connect it again to exit. So after that we have got 6 clicks, gets into what's called muggle mode, and that's good for if you're lending the light to somebody and you don't need to tell them all these settings or worry about having a turbo that gets too hot. Yeah, so from off, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now you've just got click and hold to increase the brightness to a much reduced level. Click and hold drops the brightness back down, and then all you're left with is on and off and increasing and decreasing the brightness. So 6 clicks to exit. So from here we'll move on to what's called blinkies. So it's 3 presses from off. 1, 2, 3. So that's battery check. From here is 2 clicks. That's sunset mode. It will slowly dim and turn off over the course of, I think it's an hour, I'm not quite sure. 2 clicks from here is what's called beacon. And from you can configure how many flashes per second in beacon. If you go 4 clicks from here, you'll go into beacon configuration, but we won't go into that. Another 2 clicks, and that's temperature check. And if you do 4 clicks from here, you'll go into what's called thermal config for configuring the base temperature of the light, like your room temperature, and then you set the temperature limit of the maximum temperature you want it to reach before it adjusts the brightness and reduces. So yeah, so the first configuration level in thermal config will be setting the room temperature. So if you've got a room temperature of 23 degrees Celsius, you will click on that first level 23 times. And then when it gets to the second level, the second setting, you will input the max temperature that you want it to reach. So the level that it's at, its base setting is 30 degrees Celsius. You can't go below that. So any click that you input will be 1 degree Celsius higher than the 30 degrees Celsius. So if you want a thermal limit of 50 degrees Celsius, you would do 20 clicks. Or 40 degrees, you would do 10 clicks. You know, and so on. So we'll just enter into the thermal config and show you what to do, because this is something that I see mentioned on a lot of flashlights that use the Anduril firmware, and you know, they're not showing how to do it. So we'll go 4 clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this first setting, 23 clicks, 1, 2, 3. That was for like the room temperature. And then we'll move on. Then the second setting, we'll do 20 clicks. And that was setting it to 50 degrees Celsius, 20 clicks. Now we're back in temperature check level, and that is set. The temperature sensor is now configured. A lot of the Anduril models, or all of them, you need to configure the thermal sensor before you use it. Otherwise, it's set wrong at the factory. You might get, you know, it might get too hot, or the turbo might not last very long. So that does need setting. So moving on from this, 2 clicks will cycle back to battery check level, and then a single click will return. So moving on from here, if we do 2 clicks and a hold, we'll go down to strobes. So that is candle mode. So you can hold down the button, and that will increase and decrease the brightness. 3 clicks on candle mode will set a timer of 30 minutes, and every additional 3 clicks will set an extra 30 minutes on that, and it will automatically turn off. 1, 2, 3. 1 flash to indicate that you have added 30 minutes to the clock. So moving on from here, we go 2 clicks for bike flasher. And you can increase and decrease the brightness on this. So 2 clicks from here, we'll get party strobe. And the camera's just not picking it up, but you can hold the switch down, and you can increase the frequency, so it's speeding up the strobe, or a click and hold will slow it down. So you can adjust the strobe. 2 clicks from here is tactical strobe. And you can do the same on this, increasing the speed of the strobe and also decreasing it. 2 clicks from here, you got lightning storm. So it's just completely random flashes simulating a lightning storm. It's just a bit of fun, you know. Yeah, so a single click to exit out of there. we've got forgot to touch base on what's called automatic and manual memory. So what it's set on at the moment is you've got it will, when you turn off the light, it will memorize your brightness that you were on when you turn it back on. So if you turn it off, turn it back on, it's at the set last used brightness. So if you do, say if you want to disable that and you want to switch over to manual, whereas if you set it to something like a lower level, and we'll do 5 clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now if you increase the brightness and we'll turn it off, if we turn it back on, it's still at our memorized brightness level that we set it at. So no matter what we turn it off on, it will always remember that level. And so if we want to get back to automatic memory, we will do 5 clicks and a hold, and then we'll set it back to automatic memory. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're back at automatic memory. Yeah, I think, yeah, so we'll go into ramping configuration. So from on, you would do 4 clicks of the switch, and that will go into ramping config. And so the first setting that you come to would be setting the lowest brightness level. Yeah, so you can look into the manual for the settings for that, but you would the first level is for setting the floor, like the lowest level, and it has 150 levels that you can choose from. So the default level is 1 out of 150, so it's level 1. The second setting is for setting like the ceiling, your max ceiling, the highest brightness you want it to be on before the double click to jump up to turbo. So the default setting on that is 130 out of 150. So you can actually get rid of there being a turbo, and you can just have the ramping to increase all the way up to the turbo level. So instead of having a 2 clicks to get to, like a hidden turbo, you'll have you'll be able to ramp all the way up. So a double click from off will get you instant turbo every time without first going to high, and then another double click will go to turbo. So that's some lights you want to have that behavior. You don't want to have a hidden turbo. So if you're on what's called stepped ramping, so 3 clicks from on, 1, 2, 3. And then if you go 4 clicks to get into that config menu, that ramping config menu, there's a third setting, and you can change how many steps that you will have in your stepped ramping. If you want only two steps, you just do 2 clicks on that third setting. So we'll just go into it and you can see what it does. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's for setting the lowest level. This is the second setting. That's for setting the highest ceiling. The third level is for setting how many steps you want. So if we just want 2 steps, do 2 clicks. So now we've just got 2 levels in that stepped ramping. This also has factory reset. So if you've gone into the ramp configuration and you've really made a mess of things and you don't know how to return, you can factory reset this. But just keep in mind that if you do this, you'll have to set the thermal sensor over again. Yeah, so you would first disconnect the battery, unscrew the tail cap, and then you will hold down the switch and tighten the tail cap, and then it will start shimmering the beam, and it will increase in brightness and then turn off. and then that's factory reset. So if we just hold down the switch, tighten this up, and now it's turned off, it's reset.